Hi, Elaine here. My website is countryhomeandheart.net, and today I'm going to be fixing some country style steak. Now this is a pretty popular dish down here. It's served in a lot of restaurants here in the South where we live, and this is my version of it. Mine's a little different than what we have in the restaurant because I kind of make mine the same way that my mother and my grandmother did many years ago. And so let's get started with this. Let me turn the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Bring that just a little closer so you can see. There we are. Okay. Now I have about, just a little bit under a pound of cube steak, and that's what we that's probably just about enough for my husband and me to share. Now you can always make more if you have a larger family, but we're just going to do a pound today. And I'm going to salt this, kind of rub that salt into it. Let me rinse my hands off before I go any further here. I don't want to get anything contaminated with the meat. Okay. Now I'm going to take some self-rising flour, and I usually use self-rising flour because I get a better coating with self-rising flour than I do with all-purpose. It tends to be a little lighter and crispier. But we're going to just kind of rub that in. I want to pat that into these. We're just going to dredge these. And I'll put some on that side too. And we're going to make sure that we pat that in. We put a little bit more on that. And we want to pat that into the meat so that it gets down in there really good. Okay, and just turning it a little bit more. There we are. Okay, and I'm going to rinse my hands off again. I'm going to soak some water. There we go. Soap and water over there, and I'm trying to keep my hands clean. Okay, so there we have these. Now what I'm going to do is take these over to my skillet, and I'm going to move you over there so you can see. So hang on just a minute. Okay, I'm back, and I just wanted to get the camera moved so you could I'd get you over to the stove. So right here, we're going to add maybe, that might be 2-3 tablespoons of this is just canola oil. I'm going to get my pan hot. And let me kind of just roll that around the pan. And we're going to use this same pan to make gravy. That's why I have my deep-sided pan. You can see how deep the sides are on this. So this is one of those Copper Chef pans, and before I had this I used to use my cast iron fryer skillet, and it also had deep sides, so that when I make the gravy I'm not going to be slopping it out the edge. It's going to stay in the pan like it's supposed to. So we're going to get this oil good and hot, and then I am going to brown I'm going to brown these cube steaks in it. Now my mom made this a lot when I was growing up, but what she did, sometimes we didn't always have cube steak. So she would sometimes do the same thing, but she'd use hamburger patties and instead, which, as kids we didn't really know the difference, and we didn't care. We enjoyed it either way. So okay, I think my oil is just about hot enough. I'm going to test it out here. Let's put just it's getting there. Not sizzling yet. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to put, rinse my fingers off a little bit. Okay, I'm going to put this cube steak in the pan. And I'm just going to get it brown. I'm not going to cook it and get it done, but I am just going to get it brown. A little bonus piece. Okay, and when I get this brown, we will be back and I'll show you how to make the gravy. Okay, we're back, and you can see that my cube steaks have browned. They're not done, but they have browned. And I'm going to transfer them out of my skillet and put them in the crock pot. Okay, and I think I'm going to need to add just a little bit more grease to that. And I'm going to get my bacon grease container and put just a little tiny bit more in there because it doesn't look like I hardly got enough. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to take over here, I'm going to take the flour that I have left from doing the cube steaks and just put it in my pot. And I'm going to make a roux for making the gravy here. Okay, and I'm going to add just a little bit more to that. Look like it's hardly enough. There we go. I'll put just a tad more canola oil in that. Not much, just a little bit. Okay, and we're going to get this browned. And you can see all these little bits from the cube steak are starting to come off the bottom of the skillet, and that's what we want. And I also am going to add in a teaspoon of salt, approximately, and some pepper. And there's also just about 1/8 of a teaspoon or so of sugar in that. And not much, it's just a pinch. And the reason I do that is to prevent any kind of bitterness that could come from the pan or from any other sources like that. I just want to make sure that my gravy has a good taste. Okay, and my roux is brown, so I'm going to take this off the heat. For just a moment, and what I have over here, and I'm ready to bring over so you can see, I have 2 cups of water, and I have 2/3 of cup of non-fat dry milk, and I'm just going to mix that together. And the reason I'm using that instead of whole milk is because this has to cook for a good while in the crock pot. And with it having to cook in the crock pot, it can curdle and separate from being in there all day like that in the crock pot. So what I like to do is use the non-fat dry milk. And when I use that, I don't have any problem with that issue. It always comes out, stays pretty smooth through the whole process. And that was a total of 2 cups. That was 2 cups of water to 2/3 a cup of dry powder mix. And I'm just going to start cooking this till it comes together. So we're going to stir this just until it starts to come together. And I always like to use a flat bottom spatula so I can scrape this as I go along. And, okay, we're just going to mix that good through there. And you can see it's already beginning to incorporate and mix together. So that's what we want. I want to get it a little thicker than that before I pour it into my pan. But this is a very simple recipe. This is not hard to make at all. And it is very good. My husband likes it over rice, so what I'm going to wind up doing is later on I will make him some rice to go with this, just plain old white rice. And I'm going to have mine just plain because for one thing I don't want all that starch. This has got enough just in the gravy for me. And I also don't particularly care for rice, so that's what he's going to get with it. Alright, and it's beginning to incorporate and come up to temperature here, and it will start thickening with that flour in it. And when it does, we are going to pour it into the crock pot with the steaks, and I'll show you what we're going to do from there. Yeah, here we go. See, it's beginning to thicken now and incorporate like I want it to. There we go. Alright. And see, it's nice and smooth even though it's boiled a little bit, and that's because we use the non-fat dry milk as opposed to the whole milk. Whenever I cook with whole milk, I don't like to bring things to a boil. I just don't, because whole milk sometimes will curdle a little bit and separate. Okay, so this is done, and I'm going to take this. Let me turn this up a little bit so you can see. There we go. Alright, and I'm just going to pour that right on top of my cube steaks. And this is going to cover them. Set this over here. Okay, so there is what it looks like for right now. And I'm going to put this in my crock pot. And I'm going to set this down here. And I'm going to start it on high. As soon as I get this unhooked here, I'm tangled a little bit. There we go. Okay, now then. Okay, I'm going to start this out on high, and then later on I'm going to turn it down a little bit. I'll turn it down to low, and we're going to let this go for just about, probably, we'll let that go for about 2-3 hours, and I'm going to check on it and see where we're at. And so when this gets done and we're ready to plate it up and serve it, I will be back with you. Bye for now. Okay, we're back, and our country style steak is done. And this plate right here is my husband's. I gave him some rice over his. And then this plate over here is mine. I didn't have any rice. One thing, I don't much care for rice, but I didn't want all the carbs either. So we are getting ready to eat. But before I do, I wanted to just kind of show you this. See how tender that is? That just breaks right apart, and you don't have to fight that at all. So that's going to be really good. And so anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.